Welcome to Just Break Up, the podcast about love, heartbreak, and all the relationship advice you don't want to hear. My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we're going to answer a letter from somebody who's overwhelmed with cheating content on social media. But before we begin, we just want to give you our Surgeon General's warning, which is that Sierra and I are not licensed mental health practitioners.
No, we are not professionals. We are not trained in any of this. We're watching and reading the same cheating algorithm as you guys are.
Yeah.
So, and we're getting half of our advice from social media, just like you guys are. So stay tuned to the check-in topic. But please take our advice as you see fit. We're just two humans. We're only here to share our humble opinions. To hopefully shed some understanding and maybe some laughs about the incredibly rewarding but mostly confusing experience that is love. Stumbled there for a minute, but we got it.
You got it. You got your feet under you eventually, which is great.
Yeah. Okay, y'all. It's Monday, so we're going to do a quick check-in topic, as I said earlier, before we dive into today's letter. Before I get into the check-in topic, just want to say hi. Welcome. It's autumn. Thanks for being here, friends. Thanks for listening. I feel like I haven't, acknowledged our listeners. I mean, we acknowledge our listeners, every episode, but, hey, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of surreal sometimes.
We couldn't do this without you. I mean, we could, but it wouldn't be fun.
Oh my God. It would just be us complaining to ourselves.
Absolutely. It would be sort of sad if we just pretended to make a podcast with each other.
What if this is like a Black Mirror episode and our podcast never really got off the ground and
we
this
have
is
no
just
idea.
you and I living out a fantasy?
For sure. For sure. I was watching this show on Netflix called, what is it called? Nobody Wanted This. It's Kristen Bell and Adam Brody, and
rom-com.
it's like a rom-com thing. It's cute. It's fine. But the most unbelievable thing was that she and her sister had a podcast and they owned this giant house in Los Angeles. And I was like, nobody makes that much money off a podcast.
Only 4 people do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And 3 of them are the Call Her Daddy hosts.
100%. And Joe Rogan is the other one.
Yeah.
It's just I was like, what is happening here? Why are these people living in this giant? It was a beautiful house, but and check it out if you want. I wasn't.
That's not your blind date, though.
No, it should be.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make it. We'll see what happens.
Okay, so we have a little bit of a chaotic check-in topic, inspired by me and my TikTok scrolling, even though I deleted TikTok and re-downloaded it.
Yeah, for sure.
Girly things.
Oh, great. Did you re-download it? Do I still have to send you screenshots of videos that I want you to watch?
It's re-downloaded currently, but the fuse is short. It just sucks my life away. Anyway.
Y'all, I got a video of a man holding a possum, and I had to watch the whole video because I had to screen record it to send it to Sierra because she doesn't have TikTok. And I was like, she needs to see this. She loves possums.
You're obsessed with me. What can I say?
Yeah, absolutely. Those girls had weird hands.
They're the perfect animal. This episode is all over the place, and I'm loving it. And it's about to get even crazier. Okay, so, y'all, I stumbled across a thing on TikTok that's was made popular in June of 2023. So says Google. So we're a year late. But it's basically this idea of the trope of the black cat or the golden retriever. And it's a character dynamic where the 2 characters have contrasting personalities. You can see it in literature and film, but it became this idea on TikTok and on dating advice people about black cat partners versus black cat boy partners, and the idea of the power dynamic between the 2. I have no fucking clue. No, I have a clue. I don't necessarily believe this at all. I thought it was so funny because of the examples this woman shared on her account. She calls herself the original black cat, I don't know, lady or something. Her account is called Anna Christina, or that's her name or whatever. And she has this fantastic, vaguely European accent. And she'll put up pictures of celebrity couples and she'll go, black cat, golden retriever, black cat, golden retriever. And it's couples like Meghan Markle, black cat, Prince Harry, golden retriever.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
You can see it.
Kylie Jenner, black cat. Timothy Chalamet, golden retriever. My favorite, Rihanna, black cat. A$AP Rocky, golden retriever. And then she pointed out that Rihanna and Drake didn't work because Drake was also the black cat, which I have questionable opinions about. But she gave the example of like why Miley Cyrus and Liam Hemsworth didn't work because he had black cat energy and she had golden retriever energy. Her whole deal is that like fucking that women need to have black cat energy. They need to like love themselves more than their partners. It was also very heteronormative. So like love themselves more than they love their man, because like a woman will never be happy chasing, whereas like a man will be happy chasing because it taps into his quote masculine energy. This is where we start to get a little unhinged. But it was just like another one. Black cat energy is Victoria Beckham, golden retriever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Golden retriever, David Beckham for sure. Anyway, so I just thought this was like a weird lens to look through at your relationships. And it particularly made me laugh. And I wanted to bring it to the JBU table when I started to think about our own fucking marriages, because you are without a doubt a black cat. And Peter is without a doubt a golden retriever.
Golden retriever
and is
energy.
my wife not a golden retriever? I am not really a black cat because you guys see me be so fucking unhinged on this show. But I think dynamically, if we had to flatten our relationship out, she's way more outgoing. She loves to take care of me. She loves to.
She's always running around. She's always doing something.
Yeah. Oh my God. She's a border collie. That's what she is. And I am not a black cat. I'm like a fat orange cat. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That like wants to be pet and then like left alone.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No, I get
it. So, what do you think about this dynamic? Number one, do you think it's real? And how would you apply it to your life? See, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is where the wheels fall off of this check-in topic. It's literally just me telling you this funny dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah. I love when we distill people down into two different groups of people. That's my absolute favorite. It's like you're either this or you're that, and you can't have anything in between.
Yeah.
So love that energy of it. I mean, I think for sure.
You don't have to have anything profound to say right now.
I think you could definitely.
Like, think about your exes. I was thinking about my most recent ex, the cheater. It started out, I was a black cat. He was a golden retriever because he was like, I want to love you. I want to marry you.
I have cancer. Just kidding. I lied about that.
Yeah. Well, you wanted to make up for the time that he lied about cancer.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I was like, and then I lost my black cat power because I was like, what's going on in our relationship? I need you to commit. And then I was like the golden retriever drooling all over him. And he's like, no, I want to tour playing my music and sleep with other people.
Sleeping with people. Yeah. Yeah. That's golden retriever energy, I guess. I don't.
Literally, this is the dumbest jacket topic ever, but I just thought it was so fucking funny. I was like, oh my God, this is Sam and Peter and my wife and I. What about you? Have you always been the black cat? I
think I've always been the black cat. But you know me.
No, but your black cat is threatened when the person is very attractive and mean. And then you're
absolutely.
Like, you want them to like you. Then they're the black cat, and all of a sudden you're like.
That's cat energy, though. Cat energy is like, I want to go towards the person who's like allergic to me.
That is why I thought this was so funny, because like literally I could just picture Peter being like, hey, do you want to play? Do you want to play with me? And you being like, you slowly pushing his water glass off a table.
No.
See, the internet's using this trope to
please.
like, I don't know, like find their soulmate and build their self-love. And I'm over here like visualizing you as an actual cat in your relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. And also like, I don't know, women can be golden retrievers and still be lovable.
Well, I do love the fucking internet though, because the comments on this woman videos were like, can I just like love somebody? The internet wasn't totally, the comments were like half like, yeah, black cat energy. I've always been a chaser. I've always been a golden retriever. I'm going to love myself and my man is going to chase me. And then like the other half of the comments are like,
Yeah, can I just
what if
like live
I
my
just
life, please?
like somebody? Yeah.
For sure.
When did love get so complicated?
I think that's that's my general vibe. It's like, yeah, just I don't know, be yourself.
I don't trust anything that is like all women need to
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
chased in order to feel satisfied. They will never be happy if they just chase. However, I am also that bitch who analyzed all of my exes and I was like, oh yeah, it didn't work because I was the golden retriever just slabbering all over their fucking nuts, like, but not in a sexual way, in like a dog way.
Yeah, for sure. Just like pick me energy.
Yeah, pick me. Oh my God. I
Yeah,
am such a
absolutely.
pick me. I don't know that phrase except for from the internet, but am I not? Am
Yeah,
I not?
I mean,
that?
generally, I think you are a little bit.
God, I hate myself. It was, before Pick Me, I was the manic pixie dream girl, and now I've
Yep.
become yet again what I hate.
Yeah, absolutely. We've distilled your personality down into a trope that we can complain about on the internet, which is super fun.
Okay, but before we end this, just entertain me by telling me your worst ex, whom I know, golden retriever or black cat?
I think I thought he was a golden retriever, but he was a black cat, which was the issue.
Two black cats don't work. See what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? This
I'm with
woman
you.
knows
I'm with
exactly what
you.
she's talking about.
Absolutely. And then when I didn't want him anymore, it became very black cat golden retriever energy where he was
and
just
he
like
was a golden
trying.
retriever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, friend.
And you were
because,
like-
cross me once and you're dead to me. So like that was, why would I ever want to get back with you if you broke up with me? That's stupid.
Unrelated. This is why I say I'm stronger than all of us, y'all. Did you hear the sentences that came out of their mouth? Literally, who among us has ever fucking said and felt that?
Do you know how many times that has happened to me where it's just like they break up with me and then 3 weeks later they're like, let's get back together. And I'm like, fuck
Literally,
no, you broke
if
up
that
with me.
happened to me, I would be married to that person who
You
dumped
are.
me.
You are, to
Oh
be
my
clear.
God, I am.
She just had that realization, y'all.
For
She
y'all
just
that don't
figured it
know,
out.
Will and I did date, and she dumped me.
She dumped you, and then 14 years later, she
Oh my
came
God,
back.
I'm a
She sent you that
pick-me.
email.
Manic pixie dream girl who is pathetic.
She just couldn't.
I'm
she
a
couldn't
golden
get you out of her
retriever,
head.
y'all.
That's been
I want to be
your
a
fatal
black cat
flaw.
so bad, but really, it's my secure wife who is like stable and secure and hot and has dark features.
You love you. I love that you keep sending me pictures of celebrities that I don't know, and you're like, "Isn't this person like the hottest person you've ever seen?" And I'm like, "That just looks like Willow."
Aren't I lucky? Aren't I lucky that I'm projecting my wife? I love this check-in topic. I love the check-in topic is literally just you and I talking about something I saw on the internet in a
Absolutely.
spiraling motion. Okay, well, on that note, we should probably get to the actual letter, even though this is my favorite conversation we've had in months. Thank you for indulging me in this fucking stupid theory. And I hope all of our listeners enjoy psychoanalyzing all of their exes.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah. Okay, let's dive into today's letter. It is coming to us from Little Scaredy Cat. Didn't even plan that. Didn't plan it, y'all. Whose pronouns are she, her, and who is writing to us from online, unfortunately. That's me. That's me
It's a
on this
terrible
fucking
place.
woman's page. Black
terrible
cat,
place.
golden retriever, black cat. Like, that's why I got into it. I was like, there's something like ASMR about the way she says
Oh, for
black
sure. Yeah,
cat.
absolutely. I'm really into it.
I'll send it to you. Anyway, our letter from Little Scaredy Cat goes, "Hi, I have an issue that I assume others can relate to. I hope, LOL. What if nobody related to this? That would
I
be
think
literally
everyone
impossible.
does.
This is so common, but like, I've developed a bad habit of reading so much content about infidelity lately. I don't necessarily go out of my way to look for it, but my Reddit feed is all relationship advice, and most of it is full of heartbreaking stories about cheating partners, oftentimes with other partners describing the relationship as perfect otherwise. Cheating is also featured in popular movies and shows, and it always ends up triggering me. The tricky part of this is that cheating has affected me very personally. My parent cheated, and that devolved into a deeply traumatic situation. My ex-partner cheated, and my friend has had 2 partners cheat, and so on. I'm starting to feel so cynical about love and terrified my current partner will cheat and I'll feel like a fool for trusting him and missing the signs or something. I don't want to treat them with paranoia and ruin a good thing since that's not fair either. How do I deal with my unhealthy diet of cheating stories plus the real life validation of, yeah, a lot of people do cheat and blow up each other's lives? Time out. Love the phrase a diet of. I love thinking about the things we consume as things we actually consume. Do you know what I mean? It feels like I'm starting to create a lens of the world that is colored by this fear, and it sucks, and I'm scared all the time. Is this inevitable? Can I trust in other people at all? Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Sierra.
All right, little scaredy cat. Thank you for writing to us with your big golden retriever energy.
And making it through that fucking check-in topic. Being
sorry. Sorry we ruined your letter response by that check-in topic. Yeah, I think that this is a really common thing. Actually, as I went out and got a drink with a friend yesterday, and she literally said this same thing to me, where she was like, all I'm getting on TikTok are videos about people cheating and like discovering cheating or thinking that their partner is cheating. And I was like, we just got a letter about this, like this experience of the algorithm feeding you content that is like your worst fear, but that also like affirms your vision of the world, which is that the world's full of cheaters and that everyone cheats. And that is really challenging because it's really hard to not engage in that content because you're interested in it and it's triggering and you want to know more. And I think that's true of lots of different types of content, but I think especially true when it comes to this like cheating stuff, because there is something that is so, I think, like visceral about reading about people's lives or about, you know, watching people uncover cheating in real time.
Oh my God,
you know, like,
I know. Those TikTok videos are salacious.
They are salacious. I watch them and I just for the drama, you know, like I'm just like, what's going to happen
Daily
next?
dose of drama. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so I think that this is really understandable and normal. And it's important for us to remember that what we consume online, A, isn't always true, and B, isn't true for everyone and everything, right? There's much more nuance. There's many other experiences that we might not be exposed to that we're probably just missing because of the ways in which these algorithms feed us content that kind of reaffirms what we think and feel. So we're going to get into some thoughts, some musings, hopefully some advice. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break.
All right, my darling, welcome back. Thank you so much for trusting us with this letter, for listening, and for writing in. I think this is super relatable. As Sam said, we all indulge in this diet of drama, right? But hopefully just this quick conversation with Sam and I will at least like shift your perspective a little or put you on a path in which you're going to be doing a little bit more intentional consuming and intentional trusting in the face of vulnerability, right? In the face of risk, in the face of pain. I'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I just want to talk about like the fucking algorithms on these apps. You say you're not intentionally clicking on these things, and that is totally fair and true. But you know, I looked at a back massager ad on TikTok once, and that literal ad is why I deleted the app a couple weeks ago, is because it was like every 3 scrolls, I'd get this back massager
Sounds nice.
ad. Yeah, well, it looks really nice, but I don't want to spend $30 on it. Anyway, the algorithm knows, the algorithm pays attention. So it's going to be feeding you these stories that you watch. That algorithm is like subconsciously feeding you these things, whether or not you're seeking them out. So I first want to just like point that out, that like your Explore page, your Reddit homepage, things like that, like they're being curated for you from what I understand. So you can shift that curation by not watching that content more. Also, I just want to say something about like the saturation of drama on the internet. You know, I don't know where you are located, but if you're in the US, like Sam and I, our population is over 300 million people, right? you read, let's say, on a high end, let's say 10 cheating stories a day. I don't know. That's because people who are in a happy, committed relationship rarely go online to air their clean ass, nicely smelling laundry. Do you know what I mean? You're seeing, just as a quick reminder, like, you're seeing the painful, sharp edges of interpersonal relationships because that's what we share the most often. And that's also what the algorithm is feeding you. You know what the algorithm is feeding me right now? Fucking proposal videos. I don't know why. I started watching them, I watch them, I cry, and then all of a sudden it's like 1 billion proposal videos, which I don't really care about, but they're just constant. This is why I gotta delete TikTok because it's just it's not evolving fast enough for me.
I get it.
But anyway, so you gotta come over to my side of the TikTok world, because right now I'm just seeing people being happy and people being vulnerable and risking their love and risking fidelity and faith and things like that. I'm going to get more into like the, I don't know, big picture spiritual side of this for me in a second, but I wanted to point out the actual like stats that we're talking about. Not only are you being fed this by an algorithm that is noticing what stories you pause on, what stories you click on, what ads you view, like this is all curated for us, number one. But number two, you're seeing like a oversaturated pool of a very specific population, and the rest of the population's out there living their happy, fulfilled relationships. Do you know what I mean?
For sure. And the issue is that like you have to stop engaging with the content in order for that content to not come up.
And it's so hard because it's there.
Absolutely,
just there.
For sure. And like how else are you diversifying the content that you're engaging with? Right. So like, I know that you have like a lot of relationship advice stuff on your Reddit, which is great because I also go to Reddit and read stories about people's relationships. I think it's fun and interesting. But what are the other things that you might be able to follow that kind of like help remind you that there's a diversity of experiences out there? So instead of just relationship advice, like, are there relationship success Reddits, or are there like Reddits that share happy news that people are experiencing, right? Like, what can you do to help break up so that you're not just getting this onslaught of everyone's a cheater, everyone gets cheated on? Like, because it's really easy to just like be in that worldview and be like in that bubble, right? When I go on Reddit, I'm like, God, everyone's an asshole because I follow everyone is an asshole or like I follow am I an asshole on Reddit. And so that's the type of content that I get is like people behaving badly. And sometimes I have to remind myself like, this isn't true of everyone, right? Like think of all of the experiences you've had in the world where people were just nice to each other. Like that, there's a lot of them. And so I think like pulling back and finding ways to engage in content that maybe challenges this fear that you have that everyone is going to cheat on you, to say like, where can I find content that affirms something different? Because that content exists. All content exists on the internet. We just have to find it, and we have to disrupt some of the feeds that we get on the algorithms, or take a break from Reddit. That's also an option, right? Take a break from social media in general. I think that is really hard. And I also like, as somebody who has quit almost all social media, except for TikTok, where I just like engage and watch little videos and sometimes read Reddit, it's actually easier than I thought it would be. It's like I thought I would die if I didn't have Instagram, and then I deleted Instagram and was like, oh, this is fine. This is like, I have more time to do things. I don't care. I don't hear about others' opinions all the time about things. I can still get news that I need from places and people that I trust, instead of just being like fed it by the people at Meta who have decided that that's the content that I want to see, right? Like, I think taking a break can sometimes be helpful for us to remember that like there's a world that exists outside of social media, because social media is designed to get us to engage as much as possible and to make us think that the only thing that exists is what happens on social media, which is absolutely not true. Yeah.
And to the more, I don't know, holistic point that I wanted to make towards the end of this letter, I joked with Sam before we started recording that like we all need some sort of exposure therapy when it comes to things like cheating or horrible things happening. And then I realized I can't really make that point because you've had the exposure. You've had the exposure, like, and you're like, this is going to be awful, you know? But the really hard truth of it is risking pain, risking any type of pain is the only path to love, to connection, to partnership. Because if you think about it, like nothing is guaranteed in our life. I can't guarantee that a future partner won't cheat on you. But more importantly, I can't guarantee that a future partner won't die in a tragic car accident or develop an illness at a young age or fall out of love with you or, you know, be debilitated by some sort of chronic illness that they didn't have. You know, like, in order to find love, to seek connection, we have to risk this thing. And it sounds a little morbid, but I actually think it's quite beautiful to say, I'm going to love you, you know, risking all of these things in spite of all these things. I'm going to choose to be here in the present moment with you now. You know, if you go back like a year and a half, Sam and I did a special episode where I read poems from my book that came out last year. And my favorite poem from that book is about how I regret my wedding vows to my wife because I focused on all the good things that she brought to our life. But truly, my vow to my wife is that I'm going to be there in the good times and the guaranteed hard times, right? Like we're not guaranteed good times. We're guaranteed that I'm going to help bury her elders. We are guaranteed illness and bad luck and shitty internet connection and expensive bills. And we're guaranteed seasons of depression and change and mental health crises and bodily functions not doing what they're fucking supposed to do. I don't know. I know that's not like a very comforting salve necessarily to this anxious, pulsing fear that you're going to be cheated on. But the truth is, we have no control, and part of loving isn't having a perfect partner who is guaranteed not to hurt you. Part of loving is saying, I feel safe enough to risk all of this pain with you, right? And hopefully you're with a partner, like I feel like I'm with my partner, that cheating and infidelity will never be a part of that story, right? But that doesn't mean we're not going to suffer. That doesn't mean that our relationship isn't going to be challenged by the guaranteed challenges of life, you know? And so I'm hoping that this will shift your perspective away from, oh my God, if infidelity happened, it would ruin my life because it's ruined my life before. It's crushed me, it's crushed my family, and it was traumatic. I know it was traumatic. And the crazy thing is, life is traumatic, you know what I mean? And part of love and relationships and commitment and partnering in this way is saying, I'm going to be vulnerable to you. I feel like I'm made so vulnerable by my love for my wife and my daughter. Oh my God, bringing a child into this world, I'm so vulnerable. I feel so at risk of her being hurt. Do you know what I mean? Of her hurting me. And yet I have to say yes to all of that risk in order to receive the most abundant, the most fulfilling, joyful love that I've ever experienced.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. You asked this question in your letter, can I trust other people at all? And the answer is a resounding yes. Absolutely. People are trustworthy, right? And I know that you have been fed a vision of the world that doesn't involve trust, or that where trust is broken. And there's lots of stories out there of people trusting and that trust being tender, that trust being valued, right? That trust going well and those stories don't wind up on Reddit, like they're not the things that we click on, but there's lots of people in this world that you can trust. Are there people that are untrustworthy? Yes, absolutely. For sure. We know this to be true. We see it on Reddit. You've experienced it in your life. And how can you pay attention to the other stories that are happening around you where trust is being honored, right? Where are the people in your life that you can look to and say, yeah, my parents, they blew up their relationship with infidelity, but look at these other people around me who are engaged in relationship that is trustworthy and that is helpful, or where trust is breached and they moved through it, right? They figured out how to come back together and trust again, right? Those are the types of things that we should also be paying attention to, and that can help us remember that the stories that we hear that are the most salacious, that elicit the biggest feeling in us, aren't the only stories that are true, right? In the same way that our relationships with people, just because we feel a lot about it, doesn't mean that it's like the best relationship or that it's the one that we're supposed to be with, right? Sometimes our feelings drive us to do things that aren't actually super helpful for us. So where can you spend some time paying attention to the things that you might not be noticing, or the things that your brain isn't trained to pick up on because of the ways in which it's been formed around infidelity, and try and find places where you can say, look how much my partner honors my trust, right? Look how much that person over there is showing that they're trustworthy, and believe that as much as you believe the story about folks being untrustworthy, or that cheating being a thing that everyone does. Yeah.
And hopefully none of this comes off in a way to diminish your experience. But part of moving through trauma is adding layers of understanding to it, right? And you can add this conversation to your tool belt, to your repertoire of healing, to say, these things shaped who I am. And also, I have this whole other world of experience, this whole other universe of experiences and opportunities and realities out there that aren't just this one trauma. I'm not guaranteed to be heartbroken in this one specific way. The fucked up thing is we're all guaranteed heartbreak in our life. We're hearkening back to what, 2020 podcasting, 2019 podcasting, where Sam and I's number one repeated phrase was like, suffering is guaranteed.
It is, unfortunately.
Right? And that's not to be depressing or morbid. It's just to right size this one particular fixation of your trauma and to say, you know what, I'm going to risk it because of what it grants me. And this is not the guaranteed ending of my story, right? All right, my darling, we love you so much. We really obviously relate to this question. And we're so grateful that you wrote us.
Absolutely. We love you. We hope this helps. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like more content from us, or if you would like access to our monthly office hours, you can support us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month, you'll get an additional bonus weekly episode, and you'll get access to our monthly office hours. That's patreon.com/justbreakuppod.
You can slide into our DM, send us your favorite relationship memes, but most importantly, you can submit your questions about all matters of the heart at justbreakuppod.com, which is also where you can find our merchandise.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. This literally keeps our mics on and helps us reach more brokenhearted souls who need two random strangers giving them relationship advice.
Just Break Up is a production of Duvid Media, original music recording, editing, producing, all magical things by our good friend Spencer Worth Davis. Make sure to check out his music and podcasts. And remember, you're not guaranteed to experience something like infidelity, but you are going to experience hardships in your relationships. That's part of the price that we risk in order to seek out and feel true connection to one another. This isn't meant to be morbid or depressing. This is actually meant to be freeing, that we don't actually have to protect ourselves so strictly from pain. In fact, we can prepare for it. We can welcome it into our lives as a normal part of our lived experience, so that we can be that much more fully present in the joy and the love and the satisfaction that we can feel every day in these partnerships. And if all else fails,
just break up.